begin today by saying hello to all of our listeners and welcome to just our second edition of the Tech Taboo podcast, the podcast where we try to expose unspoken secrets in technology. I'm your podcast host, Mike Fabry, a tech head who is going to put a prominent tech expert in the hot seat by bombarding them with questions they prefer not to answer. The reason we have created this podcast is for you, our listeners, so we can talk about the taboos in the field of tech which are, let's say, afraid or even unable to be discussed. Get involved and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or even Twitter at The Tech Taboo. We gladly invite insights from our listeners. Perhaps you're aware of taboos we've never come across. So let's get into it. Please welcome our guest today, Vráťa Kalenda. I've had the pleasure of getting to know Vráťa over the past few months, and he claims to be a businessman by day and developer by night. Welcome, Vráťa.
Hi, Mike. Nice to be here.
It's nice to have you here. So just like myself, our listeners are curious who you really are. So please correct me if I'm wrong, but you are the front man, which is something like the CEO and co-founder of Applifting. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. That's right. The frontman thing that's really stems from our company culture, which is really flat and open. So I don't have the ultimate decision power as the CEOs normally have, but I am part of the Council of Elders, and we do all the strategic decisions together. But that's something that's really hard to explain for the outsiders. So for the outside world, I normally just stick to the title of the CEO. It's simple that way.
Okay, so yeah, keep things simple.
Yeah.
Definitely, that makes total sense. You're also currently a solution architect for your clients, and those clients of yours include Škoda Auto, Jablotron, Erste Group, and many, many more. And I don't know if you feel comfortable or not, but kind of today we're going to have to treat each other like old drinking buddies, yeah? So I'm going to be a little bit rough with you, and I want you to be very direct with me, of course, yeah?
Okay, let's do it, man.
Perfect, no holds barred. Let's do it that way. And I guess let's get right into it. There's no reason to delay. So perhaps our listeners out there are unaware of this common practice, but what do you think about the practice of development companies selling juniors as senior engineers?
Wow, you call this a soft one?
Yeah, that's a softie.
Okay. Okay, that's a head start.
Yes.
So let's do it. Well, it's happening. Like the companies are definitely they definitely sell juniors as seniors, especially the body shopping agencies. So when they give you a candidate for a job, you have to interview them. The customer has to interview them, and if they pass the interview, they don't really care afterwards. So they can stick a senior price, and if it passes the interview with the customer, then it's a senior, I guess.
Yeah, but wouldn't the actual product or what they produce be clear that this person isn't a senior?
Yeah, well, it really depends on the product and the job that the guy or girl is doing, right? Sometimes you can tell, and sometimes you cannot. But the point is that the body shopping agency doesn't have aligned incentives that much with the customer, so they just want to make as much money as possible for that given job. So they can sell not a really junior people, but they can sell kind of the borderline people between the juniors, seniors, like a really senior one. And many times than not, it passes.
Okay, but aren't generally profit-driven projects really taking, a kick in the ass when it comes to quality?
Well, it's like the point with the developers is that you cannot really tell from the start when you assign them a job whether they are junior or senior enough. Sometimes you just have to wait like some time period, like a month or two, to see if for example they are slow because they don't get the product, or the code is really complicated, or if they are slow or incapable of doing that stuff because they just don't have the skills required. It's sometimes really hard to tell.
Yeah, but have you ever had it where a client comes to you and clearly is complaining that, hey, you're charging us for senior developer hours here, and these people clearly are not senior developers? And if so, did you ever lose a client because of such a case?
Yeah, it happened to us. It happened to us that the clients that started complaining about the seniority level of the person. It happened to us once in the beginnings of uplifting, and we didn't do it on purpose. We really thought that the guy is a senior one, but then when we were on the job and we were working with our team, we quickly realized that the guy is not senior enough, and we realized it around the same time as the client did. So then we had to let the guy go, and we had to apologize to the client.
But you didn't lose the client.
No. He's stuck with us.
Excellent. Good. Okay, but what about software agencies that do, let's say, project-based work or hire out entire teams? How can you be sure the quality or the seniority of the people that are on these teams?
I think that it's really it's a fact that when you hire out a team or you do like a work for hire, like a bigger project, you usually have mixed teams of seniors and juniors. It's only natural because the juniors have to learn somewhere. They have to learn the craft, and where else should they learn it than on the work in the field, right?
Yeah, but maybe it's just me. Personally, if I'm asking you to do a project for me, I'd much prefer to have a team full of seniors, with no juniors.
Yeah, I understand,
Yeah.
but usually that's not a realistic expectation to have, just from the point of the market situation with the developers. And also there's there's two points to it. I think like the software agencies really need to be honest about their team compositions and be like, look, this team they have like senior leads, they will guarantee the work and it will be awesome. But then we have also juniors here that will do the groundwork that the seniors don't want to do. All that like stuff like setting up the scaffold of the project, setting up controllers and so on. That for the senior guys, that's really boring work. But for the juniors, that's a great learning opportunity. And it saves time for seniors to do like architecture or more important stuff.
But do the juniors actually think of it as a learning opportunity, or they feel more like the slaves of the project?
I think that the best place where to have your juniors is that the tasks you are giving them are on the edge of what is possible for them, what they can handle. So that's the best place where to have your juniors. And when I like long time ago when I was in this position, I didn't see it as a slave work. I saw it as a, oh man, can I do it? I have to prove myself. So this was my.
So it's more like a test.
Yeah, it's more like a really exciting thing for juniors to work on their edge of their possibilities, I think.
Okay, so you never really felt you were being scrutinized or forced to prove yourself or anything like this when you were in that position?
Well,
you really saw it as an opportunity.
Yeah, I saw it as an opportunity to learn, and I think that most juniors see it this way because they like if you want to be good in IT, you have to put that practice in. You have to put the hours, and you have to automate all the like basic tasks so they become mundane for you, and then you can advance to some more complicated stuff.
Yes, of course. But how long is the learning tree, let's say, or like the period of time where you feel you get a new junior lawyer coming in, you give them a few projects, they prove themselves? Is there a general time scope, or everyone's an individual?
Yeah, so it's really individual. Yeah. In our company, like from junior to mid-year, that's our we have to came up with a new position because we just thought that junior.
Sorry, what was the name again?
Mid-year. Mid-year, right? Because we have the juniors and seniors, and that's usually not enough for for salary grading and so on. So we come up with this mid-year guy, and that's something more than junior. And so from junior to mid-year, that's like, I would say that the quickest that we had in our company is like 1 year. The most talented guys can do it in 1 year, but there are also guys that take 2 years, 2.5, and that I would be considering slow.
Okay, but isn't it also kind of connected to how many projects they're working on?
It's more connected about how hard the project is and how demanding it is and how much relevant experience the project offers for them.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's very, very logical. All makes sense to me. So basically, what I want to do now is maybe change the topic a little bit, and I'd like to move on to another issue that faces our listeners and even people outside of the tech world, and that's the issue of burnout.
Okay.
Have you ever been burned out yourself or felt that you were on the cusp of burning out? And if so, what caused it and how did you recuperate or deal with it? Yeah.
So I've never completely burned out, but I was on the edge of burning out. Like there was a time, not really, like not that far, but in the past where I had a problem just getting up from the bed, and like I was like, why I'm doing all this, right? And it was tough. And I think that the like especially in leadership roles in IT, I think that's it's because people are taking way too much responsibility on themselves, and not only real responsibility, but also imagine that they think they are responsible for X or epsilon, and maybe they are not. Maybe there is someone in the company that can handle that better, or they can delegate that responsibility to them.
So you feel people are putting too much pressure on themselves?
Yeah, I think that's also part of it. I think that people just go and like take all the worries of the world or the company they are working in, and just they put it on themselves.
Interesting. But how about your company specific? Again, have you ever had anyone burn out?
Yeah, we had burnouts in our company, and like not nothing serious, but people either like left or had to take a vacation or something like that. But like it weighs on me heavily. Every burnout weighs on me heavily, because I don't think that, like, I mean, it's a job. You do it for 8 hours a day, and you should be like, the job should be like part of your life that you are enjoying, right? If you are there 8 hours.
Definitely. Yeah.
And like after each burnout, we do a retrospective in our company, so that we learn what was the mistakes, what led to the person leaving the company, or to the burnout, and then we try to make it better next time. So, for example, we have some countermeasures now in place that are preventing burnouts, and I think we are more successful in it. For example, one thing we do is that we rotate people between projects. So, for example, if you are working on a really big project that has this like enterprise / corporate overhead, right? Like this long processes, long shipping times, and so on, and you are fed up with it, you can ask for rotation, and you will be rotated within half a year to some, let's say, smaller team with faster iteration time. So, for example, you will be working on a startup afterwards or something like that.
Okay, but this is just something you have installed, your company as these countermeasures. Is there no mandatory, let's say, something through HR, which is sort of there to prevent potential burnout? I mean, I know you're kind of use this trial and error. Let's see what happened, how we can fix it, make it better for next time. But are you being forced to have such a thing, or you just chose to have these measures in your company?
Like we are choosing proactively to prevent burnout. I think that maybe in bigger companies we are just like 60 girls and guys doing software, right? So we don't have many restrictions in terms of how the bigger companies would have some restrictions, either from the government or from the outside world.
Yeah.
So we don't have this pressure. So we are always trying to actively prevent the burnout, because we just like the people that we work with, and we want them to be happy. We are never forced by the profits of the company. We actually don't have any external stakeholders, so we are not really forced to push that number higher and higher. We just want to have a nice job which is adequately appraised, I would say.
Yeah. Okay. But again, I want to just kind of keep on the topic of burnout a little bit more. Okay, maybe they're not mandatory to have these HR institutions set up or prepare for burnout, but on the topic of negligence, I mean, you're aware of it. Everyone's aware of it. It's not just in IT. There's burnout everywhere. The owners, CEOs of these companies, they know it's happening, and then it's still happening. So where do these companies fall in terms of negligence if they're really not preventing it from happening, as opposed to dealing with it once it has happened?
Yeah. I mean, I can speak only for IT sector, and the IT sector. I mean, we are in a situation where there are like there are not enough high supply of really high quality developers and high quality people in IT tech sector. So if you are starting to feel burnout, instead of completely burning out, you would probably leave your company nowadays, because you know in today's market, as a developer or a tech person, you always know that you will find a new job within weeks. So there's not that much keeping you in that company if it has a toxic work environment.
So basically, you leave it up to the individual to recognize their own potential burnout.
Yeah, I think that's like most senior people are able to recognize it and do something with it. And of course, there are a lot of cases of like more junior people thinking that they just have to work harder to progress.
Or
And
prove themselves.
yeah, to prove themselves, and that's really hard, and it's really hard to detect from the CEO level, and it's really hard to counteract. For example, what we do is that we have a two people that take care of you in uplifting. You have your mentor that does the that is responsible for your professional growth, and then you have your team lead, which is more like a hands-on project leader of yours.
So there are people kind of monitoring and looking out for
Exactly.
the. Oh,
So and those two guys or girls have like should I ask you questions every time they have like a checkup with you to see if you are doing okay, if you are not feeling
Yeah.
overwhelmed.
great. So I mean, they're not being left completely alone. This is good. So actually, Vráťa, believe it or not, I've been taking it pretty easy on you today because
Really?
it would
Okay.
be great to have you back in the show again sometime. But our listeners are tuned in to basically to hear your voice tremble and for you to answer those really difficult questions on taboo issues. So, but today is your lucky day, as I said. Yeah. But one of the most controversial conversations I can think of, I have heard in the last time, is that of gender.
Oh,
Yeah, I told you it's not going to be a nice one. So, what is your take on gender equality within IT? And I mean, seriously, take a moment, think about it. It's not an easy question, but I'm sure everyone would like to hear what you have to say.
yeah. I don't want to annoy someone, but this is so controversial that I probably will annoy someone. But anyway,
I guarantee you.
yeah. So, like my personal take and the take of our company is that we don't care what's your gender or what's your sexual preference, in for that matter, as long you have the skills, both like social and technical, to do your job and do your job well, and you will gain the respect of your colleagues if you have what it requires to do the job, and that's it, right?
But
So-
don't you feel that because there are so few women in the IT world that they're being kind of pushed into the corner, maybe not respected by their male counterparts or colleagues? I don't know. You're in this world more than I am on a daily basis. What do you see going on out there?
I think there are still a lot of stereotypes running around the industry. So, for example, I think that a lot of people, especially older people in the industry, think that girl should be in an analyst position or UX, UI, like design, or in quality assurance. And like if you are a girl and you are a developer, then you have a like really tough time to prove yourself, I think, still.
But have you noticed any changes to the, let's say, the male female ratio in the field? Like, is there more female developers coming in, or it's pretty much the same as it was a decade ago? What do you see?
I think it's slowly improving. Like the workshops like Rails Girls or the upcoming React Girls really help to kind of sell the world of IT to girls. But the point is that the ratio is nowhere to where I would like to have it, because I think that we need more women in IT.
Okay, and where where would you like to have it?
I don't know. I think it's unrealistic to have 50-50% ratio, because just because of the nature of the work, and that not that many women are in IT by general, and to change that, to kind of like motivate girls to do what it takes to be a good developer, we would have to change the school system way of educating people to tech, and we would probably have to have a different dinner conversation at our family tables with with our daughters and so on, to kind of motivate them. Hey, there's like really cool world of IT that you could explore, and maybe you would like it.
Yeah, I think something very similar is happening in the world of science, actually. And I think a lot of fields out there have to kind of look at how the education is a little bit gender biased or isn't welcoming to particular genders, no matter what the field is, not just to women, but also to men. There are certain fields out there that men don't generally want to go into. But
Yeah.
I understand it's really about changing the way we think, like you said perfectly,
Exactly.
the way we talk at the dinner table. It's not just about the institutions and the companies changing their behavior, it's the changing behavior of the entire society.
Because I don't really believe that, at least in like real in the progressive companies, in the startups, that there are like really some like artificial blocks or restraints against hiring women. But the point is that there's just not enough quality candidates of female gender to choose from right now, and this is where we have to change it if we want to have more women in IT.
Yeah, but okay, here's the question. Maybe you don't have how do we change it?
Yeah, as I said, we have to start from the education, and it's a systemic problem. It's a problem that we will probably not be able to solve from like in this podcast. But
No,
I
I'm
think
quite
it's
sure we can't.
yeah, I think it starts with education and kind of like government realizing that the IT is important topic to educate even the youngest people.
Great, thanks so much. It's definitely not a topic I'd like to have to answer. Thanks for answering that for us. Yeah,
sure.
and to nearly finish off this roller coaster of emotions I've been putting you on today, I'm showing off my compassionate side. I don't know why, but again, I'm gonna end by ending with a question that won't really make you shit your pants, which I think you may have already done based on my last question. Yeah. So basically, can a development team really be efficient without a project manager? And if so, what's the perfect recipe in your eyes?
Yeah, I think the development team can be efficient without a project manager, but it has some ifs, right? It has some gotchas. The first gotcha is that the project has to be right for it. So no waterfall, no long-term stuff. It has to be like a highly technical or like agile development kind of a approach to development. And I also think that it like for those kind of teams, if you don't have a project manager but a team lead with a development background, it works actually better because the if you have like a really senior developers, they usually they not necessarily respect their project manager that much because they usually think that the project manager doesn't understand their job. So if you have a team lead with a strong development background instead of the project manager, they respect him a lot more, and they can the team works better, and the people are more happier, and the client is happier because they have a if it's a technical kind of a development, like really technical one, they have this feeling that the project manager actually know, or the team lead knows what he's doing, like what the teams is doing, and they have a deep understanding of the problematic, right? It's not like you call the project manager and they will, as a customer, right? You call the project manager and the project manager will say, "Oh, I have to ask the developer, right?" Or like, "I will be back in 1 day" or something. He will be like, "Yeah." So when you have a development team lead, they will, if you call him and ask, what's the problem with this, he will be like, "Yeah. So we analyzed it. I looked personally into it, and the problem is this or that, and we will fix it in, I don't know, half an hour or something."
Yeah. One word you said there, which really kind of raised my ear a little bit, is the word respect.
Mm-hmm.
How is respect, let's say, on particular teams, or even expand that to companies? Is there a problem with respect? It's a really competitive world amongst developers. Mm-hmm. Can they really respect each other, because they're kind of competing with each other, even though they might be on the same team at times? Yeah. How does that work?
Yeah, I think that the respect comes from two things. The respect comes from your technical knowledge, and that you, to put it bluntly, you know your shit, right?
Yeah.
And then the respect comes from your social skills, from how you can be kind, how much you can be kind to people, how you can negotiate, how you can kind of like navigate in this IT world. And if you have both of those things, you will earn respect. And in our company, I think that's what's happening. So if you are good with the people and good with the technology, you will get respect of others, even that your personality differs, for example.
Mm-hmm. Great. Okay. How would you describe your personality?
Oh. I think I'm optimistic all the way, and I like to think things through. So like a really calm, optimistic guy, and I am bad at seeing the negative side of things. So that's something that people tell me, that I should be more like realistic in what can and cannot be done.
Oh, so people see you more as a pessimist. The glass is always half empty kind of person, no?
No, like they see me as an optimistic guy, and they kind of tell me, Vráťa, you have to also see the pessimistic side of stuff.
Yeah, that's what you meant.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Great. You probably thought this was coming to an end, but actually not quite yet. Sorry about that. Yeah, we have...
You are sneaky, Mike.
Sometimes I gotta be. I'd put you on the spot. But anyways, I've decided to start a new tradition here, being our second podcast and all. And I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked our guest from the first show. And that basically is, please tell to our listeners out there, what's basically going to make this shit hit the fan in the next 5 years in the tech world?
Yeah, okay. Let me think. I think it will be the AI, the artificial intelligence. I think that so far the AI was mostly in the science circles, but it's getting like the AI itself is becoming a product that the developers can take and use in their own products and in their own development. And I just think that people will have to learn to incorporate AI in their software projects. And if they won't do it, somebody other will, and they will get a competitive advantage. So you don't have to be an expert in the field, but you have to understand when to use the AI and how to use it.
Yeah, so it's coming no matter what we want. Yeah, you can't stop it.
Yeah, you cannot stop it, and it will be here. And a lot of old school developers will be really disappointed when the young guys will just take it and fly with it, and they will just create a better work thanks to it.
Mm-hmm. Maybe I watch too many sci-fi movies, but do you think AI will ever actually become self-aware?
Well, I hope so, but I also hope it will be in a distant future, because I don't know if I want to be around that time when this happens, because that could have an unforeseen consequences. Yeah. But I think everything kind of leads to that point right now.
So tell us one of these unforeseen consequences that you predict.
Oh, that's all the stuff around singularity and like and ending of the human race, and like putting ourselves into some virtual reality, coexisting with AIs, right? That's like...
Well, I think you watch a little bit more sci-fi than I do.
Yeah, I can imagine. But yeah, that's a really deep rabbit hole.
Excellent, great. So, anyways, thank you so much, Vráťa. I think we've given you the gears enough quite today. And once again, thanks for your time and allowing us to ask you questions that normally make your spine cringe, I'm sure. As I mentioned before, we'd love to have you back anytime on the Tech Taboo. After your stress therapy, of course, I'm sure. Yeah. It wasn't too bad, though.
Yeah, I will get myself back together, and then I would love to be back on this podcast.
Perfect. And please, before you go, take a moment, if you wish, to say something to our listeners or anyone else you wish to shout out to.
Yeah, thanks, Uplifting Guys, for doing great work. Thanks, all people in tech, for doing what you are doing and pushing the word forward, because without you, the world wouldn't be as it is right now and as we all love it. So thanks.
Perfect. Thanks again to Vráťa and all our new listeners out there today, and of course our faithful followers. I'm your host, Mike Fabry, reminding you once again to follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or even Twitter at The Tech Taboo. And wishing everyone all the best until next time, stay healthy and help expose taboos in the tech world.